Hey everyone, Cholera here with set 3 of Air Force Ace versus Team eSTRO, and this is Reach versus Hyvaa, the Zerg player on eSTRO who almost revolutionized Zerg versus Terran play. It's like he's tried to start a small revolution, and it just was like a small coup attempt against Flash, and it failed. But then someone else took up the revolutionary mantle, which was of course Jaedong, and he made the new Zerg versus Terran revolution, which of course I'm talking about is the Lurker Queen Ensnare combination, which has certainly, we've seen a couple of exciting wins by Jaedong with that build. You know, going for the early Queens with Ensnare and then trying to get some nice Ensnares off on Medic Marine and then use Lurkers and Lings to finish them off. So that was definitely an exciting game when Hyvaa tried to do it, but you know, it's kind of like the I don't know, the Russian Revolution or something. Hyvaa was Kerensky, and Jaedong was Lenin. I mean, Hyvaa started the revolution, didn't really get that far though, and then got overthrown by Jaedong, who actually made the revolution succeed. Vladimir Ilyich Jaedong. Here is Reach versus Hyvaa though. This is a ZVP on Chupung-Ryeong. And, you know, that's enough about Hyvaa's attempt of doing it. I mean, it was a very, very good build against Flash. You know, it was very, very unscouted by Flash. He had no preparation for it. Basically, you go for a 3-hatch into Spire, and then the Terran player sees the Spire and says, okay, I'm going to build up turrets like normal. But at the same time, you put up 2 Evo Chambers, a Hydralisk Den, and then a Queen's Nest. And instead of actually wasting, you know, instead of going for Mutalisks and hence causing the Terran to waste money on turrets, you go for Lurkers with fast upgrades, and you go for a relatively fast Hive, and you know, just pull off the win there with the high upgraded units and the Ensnare. And of course Jaedong actually made it succeed because he had Dark Swarm, which Hyvaa didn't. Anyway, enough of that history. I really don't know much about Hyvaa's Protoss play, Zerg versus Protoss play. We're seeing Reach going for an early scout though. He's going to spot the fact that, whoa, he's not going to spot anything in fact. Hyvaa has put a drone at his ramp there, so we'll see what Hyvaa's deciding to do, if it's some kind of strange build or if it's just a standard kind of, you know, a fake out kind of. And by doing that, he's actually going to force Reach to put up a Forge instead of going Nexus first, if indeed he was going to go for a 12-hatch anyway. So Reach has no idea, and he has to play it safe. And we'll see how long Hyvaa keeps that drone on the ramp, because you know, I do wonder what actual build he's doing. I can't tell inside his base what he's doing. Reach and Hyvaa are just dancing there. You know, actually, Reach doesn't dance with men. Reach is actually just, you know, Hyvaa thinks he's dancing. Reach is actually just practicing boxing moves and trying to punch out that drone with his bare fists. But here we're seeing a bunch of Korean that I can't read. And I don't know. Did Hyvaa go for a 12 pool or something? I saw some drones being produced. We're seeing a bunch of girls who should be hiding their faces, and there is finally some Zerglings coming out. So in fact, it looked like something like a 12 pool or something like that. Yeah, interesting. An overpool or a 12 pool, because he got Lings and then he got his hatchery. So probably a 12 pool or 11 pool into expand, and that's a fine build. I mean, he managed to get Reach to go Forge and then Cannon and then Nexus, so he's going to be about even ground here with Reach in terms of early game economics. Not going to make a big difference. We'll see how he follows it up if he decides to go for another expansion at the upper left corner, which certainly is a standard opening for Zerg versus Protoss on this map. And you follow that up, of course, with Lurkers or that 5-hatch Spire Hydra build. Either one is fine. A lot of possibilities, of course, with that kind of build. And Reach now protecting his main base, or his natural expansion against a run-by with all those probes. Doesn't look like that's going to happen. Hyvaa actually looks like he's produced 8 Lings, and he has double expanded. So very standard opening here on this map, Chupung-Ryeong, and Reach going for a standard Forge Fast Expand opening also. We've seen actually, basically on this map, a lot of just a standard Templar game is actually quite successful. We haven't seen that much Corsair Reaver used on this, but speed lot attacks are actually quite good because the Zerg has to defend 2 bases, 2 fronts that are kind of far apart on the upper left and at the natural. So speed lot attacks or just a combination of speed lot, Templar, Archon are fine builds here, and we'll see if Reach decides to go for any of them. If we see an early Forge spinning, of course, that would be the +1 speed lot. Finally, Hyvaa manages to clean up that scouting probe, and Reach is going to be temporarily in the dark, although I think he has spotted the upper left, so he's going to know pretty much the parameters of Hyvaa's build. And there is a bunch of Lings just running around trying to find the other scouting probes, which Reach is, of course, sending out right now. Team eSTRO is definitely one of those teams that has experienced a little bit of a renaissance this season. While other teams, like historically decent teams like NBC or We Made Fox, have slipped, eSTRO has sort of taken their place at the, the middle of the lower 6 pack, kind of around the 8 or 9 position. And it's mainly due to UpMagic, who's just been absolutely beastly. Just a great Terran player nowadays. I mean, if you watch, for example, UpMagic versus Flash on this map, it's a 45-minute epic with battle cruisers and mass Goliaths and cloak rates and Yamatos everywhere, and that is a great game that shows off how much this guy has improved as of late. Just how good of a player he's become. Looks like Reach going to pick up his Stargate, going to go for a very standard follow-up here, and we are seeing the Spire, so most likely a Spire into 5-hatch build, although it could be just possibly a 3-hatch Muta build. We'll see if he puts down a second gas. That would be indicative of a 3-hatch Muta build. And there is the probe going down again. I don't think it managed to get any vision either, so not too good for Reach there. He might be forced to put up some unnecessary cannons, and we are going to see the 5-hatch build. He might be forced to put up some cannons, though, around his main base, just because he's not sure exactly if there's going to be Mutas coming. But of course the Corsair will help him scout. He has gone for the Citadel, so it is going to be that relatively standard kind of build there. Probably just going to get a couple of Corsairs, not necessarily go straight up Gisu build, but just get Corsairs, Speed Lots, and Templar, and then try to take down an expansion or two. So Reach going to put down a couple of gateways. This is a very safe build here from both players. There's the 5-hatch build from Hyvaa, and there's Reach's first Corsair. The thing is, if Hyvaa plays as well, he can pick off that first Corsair with Scourge. That is the goal of going for the Spire first, is to deny the use of Corsairs by the Pro-As player unless they really want to commit to them. Overlord's going to spot everything inside of his base. Reach decided not to kill it off. He has to scout first, and he's going to scout the Spire. He's going to run away with that Corsair. He's going to spot more hatcheries going up, and he's going to probably know pretty much what's going on. Interesting little wall formed there by Hyvaa. Haven't seen that that often, but I guess it's pretty good against speed lots, in fact, because you can put lurkers and sunkens behind that line. There's a 6 Scourge there, so yeah, Reach definitely smartly running away there. We'll see if he manages to keep these Corsairs alive, though. Like I said, Reach doesn't necessarily have the highest APM, so he might lose these, especially because he doesn't have that many cannons. There's one cannon around his main base. These Corsairs could decide to hunt them down. I'm sorry, the Scourge could decide to hunt down these Corsairs, like I'm saying right now. And oh, Reach taking one hit there from his on his Corsair, but it looks like the cannon there warps in just in time. And there's the 3rd gas going up for Hyvaa. This is a very strong build on maps like Destination or Chupung-Ryeong, and I mean, I definitely recommend every Zerg try this out. I've been playing a little bit, actually. I've gotten back into the game since maybe the end of January. So I've been doing this kind of build quite often, and it's a great build. So yeah, we're seeing more Scourge just kind of wandering around, and Reach doesn't seem like he's going for an early attack. Really, he hasn't got a lot of Corsairs. He's got a +1 spinning there. I'm not sure when it's going to be done or when it actually started. So I don't know exactly the timing of the speed lot attack, if he's going to go forward, or maybe he's just going to try to expand again. Generally, though, Protoss have to go for an attack at this point. And it looks like a Muta switch here coming from Hyvaa. This is very interesting and very unexpected. And we have seen some Zerg players win with this. And look at that, Hyvaa. Hyvaa is a smart player. He's hidden his Mutas in the upper right corner. Reach does not know this is coming. And this could be devastating for Reach. He does have 2 cannons around his main base. I don't know how many cannons he has at his natural. I don't know how far he's gone in terms of getting Templar tech either. But if you notice, all these Sunkens are being placed because he knows his Mutalisk. He wants to be able to use his Mutalisk to effectively kill off Reach without worrying about a big counterattack and having to pull his Mutas back in order to deal with it. And look at this, the Corsairs might go down right now. Reach, I don't know, he smelled something, though I think he smelled a rat here, and he's deciding to put up more cannons because he knows something is coming. I don't know where his High Templar are. If he has any High Templar, he needs to use them right now. He needs to get some Archons to deal with it. He's got some Dragoons, actually, in the main base, but those Dragoons are not going to be enough. cannons look like they're about to go down. Reach needs a Morphin Archon right away right now, or else he is going to lose this game because, you know, we saw Julyzer trying to do this against Tempest on Neo Harmony. It went very, very well for July, just overwhelmed Tempest. Reach trying to storm there, but Mutalisks are so agile. If they're being microed properly, they can just dodge out those storms. And Reach probably has at least 2 Templar, though, so he can merge an Archon. Archons, of course, are very, very good against